Buffalo have been here before, one win away from getting back to the finals, hoping to celebrate that tonight in Bandit land. But on the flip side, the Toronto Rock don't feel they're done yet, trying to win on the road and extend their playoff lives. One of the most raucous buildings in the NLL is the scene for a pivotal Game 2 of the NLL Semifinals on TSN and ESPN. Bandit Land is always ready, and they know the moment that they've been waiting for is to see the Buffalo Bandits get back to the NLL Finals. That's if Buffalo wins. Toronto trying to play for their playoff lives as they find themselves down in a 1-0 series hole. It is the best 2 out of 3. Same goes for the San Diego Seals taking on the Albany Firewolves, who have control in that series. Good evening, everybody. John Abbott, Pat Gregoire in a crucial game number 2 in the NLL semifinals. Wouldn't have it any other way, and the scenic behind us is about to go off in Bandit land. This series is begging for a very close, good lacrosse game tonight, and that's what we're expecting from both teams.
John Tavares said it to us at morning shoot-around. That Toronto Rock team we saw in Game 1, it's not going to be this. He feels like with their backs against the wall, they're going to get the best from their opponent.
Buffalo trying to make their 3rd consecutive trip to the finals. Their depth shone through in a Game 1 win.
Well, normally when we're talking about a win for the Buffalo Bandits, the score sheet is filled for guys like Josh Byrne and Dayton Smith. They were solid, but the depth took over, and some of those secondary scoring pieces really stepped up. You saw Brandon Robson, 2 goals. Kyle Buchanan stepped in with 3, and the transition game was something that really popped up, but Buchanan was electric. I mentioned his 3 goals. That one was a dagger. He's the water bug, the energy piece to this offense. He capped it all off with ultimately, which was the salt in the wound in Hamilton in Game 1. He wasn't the only one, though. A lot of depth scores came up big in big moments.
It was quite a night for the secondary offense from the Bandits. Brandon Robinson joins our Brianne Foley.
Brandon, both your head coach, John Tavares, and Dane Smith, you're such a offense. How do you keep that mentality to go into the game like this?
Yeah, I think it's just, the way I want to play to help this team, do whatever is asked of me, set picks, get loose balls, contribute offensively if I can. But I think that's the mindset of our whole team right now. Just do whatever we do best. And, we got 3 more wins. We want to put these guys away tonight. We don't want to go back to Hamilton next week.
Both you and John said that healthy scratch was a reset to light a fire. How do you keep that burning?
Yeah, it was. It was a long time. I haven't been healthy scratched in a while, and it was just a little kick in the butt. I don't want to be in that position ever again. So like I said, do whatever it takes for this team on and off the floor. And like I said, 3 more wins, and we get back to where we want to be.
Awesome. Thank you. Good luck.
Brendan Robinson picked a heck of a time to find his first pair of playoff goals in his NLL career, putting the Bandits up 1-0. As for the Rock, Pat, well, it could be quite simple. They need to play a lot better, and for that to happen, they need to rely on their big guns.
These are the reasons why they went out and got a guy like Mark Matthews. Coming into yesterday, he averaged 5.5 points per game against the Buffalo Bandits. Tom Schreiber had a ton of chances, just could not convert. This offense just had no answers for not only Matt Vince, but the defense. And when you look at these numbers, it's jaw-dropping. That's a season low for Mark Matthews, just to be held to 1 point. All 4 of these guys have to find a way to break down this defense.
You notice the turnovers there as well. Trying to turn over a new leaf is Mark Matthews with Brianne Foley.
Mark, you described how frustrating this 3-back defense is. How do you generate offense in a game like this?
We just got to get through the middle a little harder and be a little harder to play against. I think Friday night we were playing on the perimeter a little bit too much and made it a little easy on them. So hopefully tonight we can move our feet a little more and get inside.
And having Challen take a more defensive role, how does that help the offense generate transition?
Yeah, Challen's unbelievable all over the floor. So to have him back there and be able to push the ball in transitions, it's obviously great for us. And Hondo coming in is a big athletic body that I think can generate some offense on his own for us. So I'm excited.
Awesome. Thanks, Mark. Good luck.
The Toronto Rock need a win to extend their playoffs. The Bandits need a win to get back to the finals. NLL Semifinals Game 2 coming up when we get back to Bandit Land on TSN and ESPN. The NLL on TSN Game of the Week is brought to you by NLLstore.ca, a Fanatics experience, officially licensed everything. Welcome inside Bandit Land, Buffalo, New York, KeyBank Center, ready for Game 2 of the NLL semifinal between the Bandits and the Toronto Rock. One of these two teams will get to the final to meet the Albany Firewolves, who have punched their ticket in a win against San Diego. For more on the game ahead of us, here is Brianne Foley.
Well, Toronto Rock head coach Matt Sawyer did not mince words this morning when he said his big guys really need to perform. Of course, he also did not hold back after Game 1 Friday, saying every decision the Toronto Rock made was incorrect. So on that note, prepare to see Challen Rogers in a more defensive role, getting things going for a transition game that has previously been the Rock's strong suit. And welcome back Dan Littner and Tyler Hendricks to the offensive. On the other side, Bandits head coach John Tavares said he wishes for the exact same game as Friday, but knows this one will be a totally different game on the scoreboard. He stressed to his team that this will be more of a one-goal game and that they can't lose their focus because it's that.
Thank you very much, Brianne. Both teams know the stakes in front of them. Nick Rose trying to prolong the Toronto Rock playoffs and get them back to Hamilton. Matt Vince, who made 53 saves in a Game 1 victory, hoping he celebrates on the home floor to get back to the NLL final. Connor Farrell of the Bandits, TD Erlin getting ready to start Game 2, NLL semifinal on TSN. Sit back and enjoy this battle. And right away it's going to be Rock ball. Matt Sawyer and the Toronto Rock hoping for a quick start in this one. Didn't score a goal and a half in Game 1. Bushi puts it on. And Matt Vince is there. Tyler Hendricks is an addition for the Toronto Rock. He's been out since February 3rd with an appendix rupture. He's back in the lineup, as is Dan Lindner. No Zach Kearney tonight. And we're expecting to see Challen Rogers play out the back door as they defend the Bandits and get a turnover on their first possession. As the Rock D helping set the tone in this one. Brianne mentioned no mincing words. Toronto knows the work ahead of them, but what they have to do to be successful.
They got to get to the inside of the floor. That's something it looks like they're trying to set up for Tyler Hendricks. Big body with great speed.
Hendricks with the ball. That came out against Dan Lindner, but Hendricks gets back to it. Hendricks in, shoots! Stopped by Vince. Hendricks had 5 goals in 5 games for the Rock. He was a terrific story. And credit the Rock training staff to catch that something was off on a practice day, sent him to the hospital, and he had to have emergency appendix surgery.
One of the many young budding stars from the Ottawa Capital region.
In tight, Bandits looked like they were going to get the ball down low to Buchanan, but another breakup from Toronto. So 2 Bandit possessions snuffed out by the Toronto Rock.
Just because Challen Rogers is going out the back door doesn't mean he can't stay and play. We'll see him play a little offense.
A little behind the back passes. Rogers got pressured, went down to one knee, but the Rock save it. Now 10 to shoot for Toronto. Trying to open it up in Buffalo. Schreiber plants and fires, and that one didn't sneak past Vince. In transition, Ian McKay trying to do it again. Shoots and couldn't find the handle against Rose. McKay opened up Game 1 in a similar fashion for Buffalo.
Almost an identical shot to the game's opening goal from Ian McKay on Friday night. Just wasn't able to fool Rose.
Luce had a big game for Buffalo as well. Brandon Robinson back to Kluche into the middle behind the backer, and that didn't fly. And Rose Rose will stop the latest bit from Buchanan. Right into the hands of Chris Weir for the Rock. Toronto trying to improve in just about every area of the game, including getting up the floor a little quicker. Schreiber throws it over. Bushi, no dunk try, stick dislodged there. Belter, the rookie, handling him. And Bomberry gets it across. Dane Smith told us he felt like he could have played another 2 or 3 games after the game 1. He was not utilized as much as he normally is. Nanakoke moves to Smith, shoots, scores! Dane Smith opens it up in game 2 in Bandit Land.
He might not have felt he was utilized last game, but here early on, he takes a feed from Dahoga Nanakoke and stuffs that short side by Nick Rose to get Bandit Land on their feet. A massive goal to start on time, something they really desperately wanted to do to help continue to plant that seed of doubt in the heads of the Toronto Rock and get life inside this building.
Remarkably, just his second goal of the playoffs, had 33 in the regular season to go along with 101 assists. He has been a setup man, but finds the first goal of game 2, and Buffalo with a 1-0 lead. Bandits, Fraser trying to come right back. Rose, fantastic stop.
Lost in the shuffle of last game, John. I know Toronto gave up 12. It was only Nick Rose giving up 8. He did come out of the game. They did put the backup goaltender as we're getting a chance here. I'll get to that just in one moment.
Yeah, Rose 37 stops in the loss in game 1. Schreiber looking for some space, draws a crowd. Mark Matthews hauled down. And Toronto will go on the power play unless Schreiber buries here. It goes up into the netting. And this is a big discussion point within the Rock room as well, Pat. Taking these opportunities and capitalizing on them.
A big opportunity here as well.
Buffalo number 4, minor penalty holding.
The hold here, it's a big fish hook right on the face of Mark Matthews. Maybe a little bit of an embellishment, but no doubt call there. How about this save though from Nick Rose? That is huge. Steps right into it off the hip. That's also a confidence stop by Nick Rose. Not allow Bandits to pot 2 there.
Toronto Rock 1 for 11 on the power play in the playoffs. They need that to change, but Vince is there to stop Corey Small.
I thought early on last game, Toronto did a really good job getting those opportunities, getting those looks. They weren't able to convert. Then once Buffalo's defense got settled, they were able to park the bus, block those shots. That's when they started to settle for some outside looks. They got to get one early.
Yeah, went 1 for 8 to Toronto on the power play in game 1. Buffalo's penalty kill in the postseason, 9 for 12. They've allowed just 3 power play goals through the quarters and into game 1 of the semi.
Big credit to the recent success of this PK. That man down right on the crease, Paul Dawson.
Rock work it around. Matthews stepping up, moves to Schreiber, closes in, shoots. How did that stay out? Schreiber had it wrapped up, and Vince said no. Buchanan able to save that from going in the Rock bench. And he'll allow some more time to tick off that penalty clock. 30 seconds remaining in the Toronto power play, and the Bandits kill.
I know Toronto doesn't walk away with a goal there. That's a really good look. They have to keep their confidence. They got to be pleased. They're getting chances. They're spreading out this PK of Buffalo, which we didn't see often.
Josh Byrne looking to the far side of the floor, trying to connect with Buchanan for the crease crash, and that didn't drop. The Buffalo Bandits, in front of their home crowd, have found an early Game 2 lead. Dane Smith, 1-0 Buffalo. Matt Vince is very good during the regular season, but really elevates his game in the postseason, and he's done it again in this series.
A beautiful shoulder save. It looked like Schreiber had it up top there, but this is just him making callbacks to Friday night. He was unbelievable, John. I know I talked about how there wasn't a lot of quality chances for Toronto, but look at these. He was unbelievable, especially early on. 53 saves, just was nothing short of brilliant. And to believe that there were some murmurings around the lacrosse world thinking that this guy was washed up, give me a break.
Just because he's over 40, he's proven that wrong. Matthews coming in, trying to beat him. Denied, and Vince will get over to his left to scoop it up with some help from Paul Dawson. 3 shots on that Rock power play. They can't find the back of the net. So now 1 for 9 in this series. 1 for 12 overall in the postseason. Burns setting up the offense. Swings to Nanakoke, and that one went low and wide. Bandits, no time to shoot. And a bouncer goes right to Rose anyway. Toronto will try to set up the possession. You know, Matt Sawyer, head coach of the Rock, very clear with us as to what he was hoping to see tonight. Trying to get that Bandits D moving. Rogers. Right across. Littner couldn't make it happen. Up the floor. Robinson. Over. Playing it back. Dane Smith off the bench. Rose coming up with a big save. Boucher trying to swim his way out of coverage. Josh Byrne. Dane Smith now going to work on Toronto's Justin Martin. Nearly found a taker in Fraser in front, but the Rock able to break that up. Jubenville can move it, has Hostrauser available. Desnood joining the play as well. Hostrauser will let the offense get on the floor. Buffalo really pushing up. Chris Boucher. Shoot, scores! What moves from Boucher, and a big goal from Toronto to get them on the board in the first.
Lacrosse is a game of inches. Look at this opportunity for Fraser. Nick Rose initially gets a piece of it, but it trickles through, goes off the pipe, next possession. This is what Matt Sawyer was talking about. The big players taking opportunities and running with them. And he literally goes on the run, spin move, a fadeaway J from Chris Boucher. That is what you do. You got to stick your chances because Buffalo's not going to give you up a lot of looks. That's a look there they gave up, and Chris Boucher took it.
To put it bluntly, that is their first half goal of this series, remarkably, and they did not want to be in a hole they created in game 1.
That's their first settled 5-on-5 goal as well.
So Toronto already able to notch a goal on a dunk try there. Yes, Dan Craig will give the Rock the lead.
The Toronto Rocks come hooping here in Buffalo. We saw a fadeaway jumper. Dan Craig with the alley and the oop. And I think that's going to stand as a good goal. We don't see a challenge flag. Look at the athleticism. Does that toe touch down? The Buffalo bench is taking a look at this. I think that one is going to stand. We talked about secondary scoring for Buffalo. I mean, scoring for Toronto came at a minimum for them. But Dan Craig was a guy that was held scoreless, which is something we don't often see. And John, oh yeah, after the goal there, penalty for Buffalo. This is a massive opportunity for Toronto.
Buffalo's Justin Martin in the box, and Toronto trying to go on a little run of their own. You're right, Dan Craig was super motivated to leave a mark on this game. He's found a way to do that early. Toronto's first lead. They're on the power play, 0 for 1 with 3 shots. Rogers moves it over, gets it back, swung down low. Schreiber shoots over the top. Schreiber gets it back, quick stick, try! Vince stacking them up, able to keep it out against Boucher. Toronto getting back to that ball. Matthews on to Rogers. Back to Mark Matthews. Now Tom Schreiber. Thought about it. Matthews behind the back, setting up small. Stopped by Vince. And the Bandits will recover.
Again, another couple of really strong looks for Toronto. Not able to convert there, but they're getting down the alley. They're getting to the hard parts of the floor and not just settling for those outside shots, which we saw so many times. Not just on Friday night, John. These power play struggles go back to the first game of the playoffs against Rochester. They went 0 for 3.
Indeed, it's been a bit of a sore spot for the Toronto Rock, especially with the offensive weapons they have up front. Well, a little bit of the rivalry rearing its head early. This is how game 1 finished. Game 2 beginning with Ostrauser finding a loose ball on what's left of the Rock power play. Just 10 seconds remaining in the penalty to Buffalo's Justin Martin.
I think there was a little bit of a confusion there. Brad Cree thought they didn't blow in the play.
Justin Martin for the Bandits is out. And Boucher, the quick stick, squeezed by Vince, and now he's got a little extra. Chris Boucher and Paul Dawson. That is playoff lacrosse. The Rock, fighting for their postseason lives, have a 2-1 lead in Buffalo. I don't know about you, Pat, but I'm in trouble when I forget anniversaries. Toronto is hoping to put this in the rear view. 0-7 the last time these teams have met in the playoffs. Bandits have had their number, and yes, today, May 5th, 2012, was the last time the Rock won a playoff game against Buffalo.
Unbelievable to think, and sometimes just the game of lacrosse is funny. When you think of these matchups, just some teams match up better than others. And now it's taken so long for this to happen. It almost seems like it's a mental hurdle for this Toronto group not being able to beat the Bandits in the postseason.
Josh Bird puts his head down, swings over, quick stick, Nanticoke scores! A silver bullet to tie it up for Nanticoke.
Oh, the depth scoring continues. This time, it's Dahogan Nanticoke. Look at the set piece out of the timeout. Somehow, Dahogan Nanticoke sneaks behind the net, comes back around, and Toronto completely loses track of TN1, and he perfectly puts that ball right on the hip of Nick Rose.
So 2 Toronto goals in 35 seconds, but not long after the Bandits get it back to a tie. This is what we had in mind for Buffalo-Toronto playoff lacrosse.
And give John Tavares the assist on that one. Those are those set pieces out of the TV timeout. We saw them working on that in morning shoot-around. Perfectly executed.
Lintner. On to Bushi. Matthews working down low. Bushi. That's one off the sideboards. Lintner saves. Wild stab at it. Corey Small won't get that one off before the shot clock expires. Bandits moving with McKay. Dane Smith out of Kluche. Fraser's lost his helmet. Penalty coming up against the Rock on that engagement. Vince to the bench. Extra attacker on for the Bandits. Bird quicks the goal. They nearly did it again. Smith can't believe he didn't bury. Dane Smith on the fly. Quick stick, and now he wants 2 penalties on the same possession against Toronto. Will he get it?
It's going to be former Buffalo Bandit Mitch DeSnoo who's going to sit down as he's trying to have a conversation with Josh Hiltz, one of the officials for tonight, who will have the call here on the floor.
Call is on play, number 12, 2 minutes roughing. Throw, number 91, 2 minutes, illegal cross check. 5-on-3.
And oh boy, this could be a turn of events. We'll see. Watch Mitch DeSnoo as punches the bucket right off Chase Fraser. And then we're going to get the illegal cross check. Don't see that one there, but a 5-on-3 opportunity for Buffalo.
And Dane Smith aided perhaps in that second call. He was all over it, going straight to the official. Rose, big time stop on the penalty kill for Toronto. It is a Buffalo 5-on-3, and Cree shakes off a check from Nanticoke to get it across in under 8. Tyler Hendricks, remarkable return to the lineup altogether, never mind appearing in his first playoff game in the NLL. Hasn't played since Feb 3rd, wouldn't know it. Look at this effort. Hendricks! Denied by Vince. What a solo mission from Tyler Hendricks. Ryan Fowler, crew chief Josh Hiltz, Brett Colombe, the assistant referees. 5-on-3 continuing for Buffalo. Buchanan, tiptoe, shoot, scores! Patton, Buchanan, goal. Power play marker restakes the Bandits lead.
Too much time, too much space, too much to handle for the Nepean Nightmare. As Kyle Buchanan picks up where he left off. 3 games in game 1. Now he's got another. Bouncers will indeed go. It's a bad rotation by Toronto, but in the game of lacrosse, a 2-man advantage is almost automatic with how good these players are.
Buchanan, his 5th of the postseason. Big night in game number 1 of this series with a hat trick, and the Bandits get to it quickly. Justin Robinson, though, will get off the floor. 47 seconds remaining in the penalty to Bill Hostrauser of the Rock. 5-on-4 for the Bandits, trying to score back-to-back power play goals. Rock hoping to hold them to 1. Dane Smith up top. Back to Buchanan, cross, floor, burn, shot blocked. Corbeil soaked it. Smith over to the side, and Rose slides over to his right against Fraser. Mad scramble for it, and it'll be Rock ball. Fraser's lost his bucket again. I mean, he has great hair, but I don't know, that's part of the game plan as he has to trot off the floor.
A little bit of an uncharacteristic miscue by Challen Rogers. Couldn't meet his man. Luckily for him, the penalty will expire.
Dane Smith at the tail end of the power play, denied by Rose. So Buffalo 1 for 2 in the game, but have the 1-goal lead on the board. Luce. Far side for Dane Smith, little twist, pressured by DeSnoo. Ball comes out. Nanticoke trying to get to it. Mitch DeSnoo. What an effort defensively. Justin Martin of the Rock, fresh off his first NLL playoff goal in game one. We'll put that one into the hands of Dan Craig.
What a gem he was this offseason by owner and GM Jamie Dowick. What a find, what a signing.
Boucher taking a look, swings up top. Hendricks shoots, stopped by Vince. Well, we were keeping our eye on Tyler Hendricks in warm-up, taking some contact. He looks fine out there. Vince started out, will not give Buffalo the extra tacker on this play. Bandits running out of time. Wild shot by Kluche misses. And everybody will take a breather. Game two has met the expectations thus far. Terrific atmosphere in Buffalo, and the Bandits have etched out a 1-goal lead. Toronto Rock have a pair of Rush legends with 3 rings on their fingers, strategically bringing in Matthews and Corbeil to help with a Rock playoff run. For more on that pair, here's Brianne Foley.
Back in 2015, Mark Matthews and Chris Corbeil won their first NLL championship with the Edmonton Rush. Over the next 3 seasons, they would win 2 more. They're the only 2 players on the Rock that currently have won cups, and asked about what it means to play on a new team but have the familiarity of Corbeil, Matthews said, "We were never in a lose and done when we were playing together, but having the experience of him on the back and me on the front, well, that helps."
Thank you, Brianne. Trying to band together tonight are the Toronto Rock, who know if they can't get it done, their playoffs are over. Leaning on a bounce-back performance from those two, specifically the offense, and Mark Matthews had an uncharacteristically off night in game number 1.
6 turnovers, just 1 assist. He looked off, and you could see he was frustrated, but already he's been a lot more of a facilitator, a lot more clean with the ball as he feeds Boucher for a great chance there.
Told us this morning he's okay with a different look, and that's what the Rock are trotting out there against the Bandits this time. Weiss into the hands of Dane Smith.
And Buffalo was credited with 11 blocks last game, John. I think it could have been closer to 15. And that really...
On the doorstep, Brandon Robinson juggled, and it came free. Loose in the corner for a moment. Toronto and Cree with the snoo. The Twin Towers of defense there trying to shut it down. And the Bandits in the midst of that battle will head to the box.
Buffalo calling number 73, minor penalty, boarding.
Brandon Robson's going to sit for 2 or less for boarding here as he drives Mitch DeSnew right in. Could have called that a boarding or interference nonetheless. Going to sit for 2 or less. We'll see if this Toronto Rock power play can get going.
Rock on their 3rd power play already. We're early into the 2nd quarter. 0 for 2, 5 shots. Matthews sneaking in. Boucher at the side, denied by Vince. He got over in a hurry to his right.
Man, oh man, that is a huge stop for Vince. That's a great play set by Matthews to Boucher.
Matthews behind the back. Small shoot, scores! Corey Small, power play goal. Tied again in Buffalo.
Whether it's in Edmonton, Peterborough in the summer, or here now with the Toronto Rock, these 2 lefties are so dynamic. Look at the little behind the back. Whoop! In and out, little twister finish from Corey Small. It is remarkable how quick that guy can get the ball in and out of his stick. And Small scores his 4th goal of the postseason, ties this game up at 3.
2nd power play goal of the playoffs, and again a footnote from game 1. You mentioned it wasn't moving seamlessly and quick for Small, and so he's tightened it up and looking more to form tonight already as well. Rock with another possession after the power play goal. Shot from distance, handled by Vince.
Martin actually jumps in front of that one, John. Blocks another shot.
Byrne into the middle, McKay shoots, and that came close on the right of Nick Rose.
That's a great double team from Corbeil and DeSnew. We talked about it last game, John. I thought the defense was quite fine for the first 3 quarters. The defense once again has done a really nice job against Buffalo, limiting the 5-on-5 scoring opportunities.
Small shoots, point blank, what a save. Reaching over by Vince. Reset for Toronto. Corey Small. Schreiber. Back to Small. Mark Matthews taking a look. Matthews lost control. Priolo on him, pops it free, and Vince will send it back to the Buffalo captain.
Now Priolo had Mark Matthews' number last game with a couple caused turnovers, some pickoffs there. Matthews just a bit careless with the one hand on the stick.
Byrne looking for a quick stick from Buchanan, moving quickly through the middle. That was nullified. Up the floor come the Rock. Justin Martin of Toronto had that one slip out of his stick.
And Phil Mazuka, I know he's coming on his wrong side of the floor there, John. If he looks back, he has a streaking Chris Boucher in all alone. We know how good Chris Boucher is scoring on the run off the bench.
In the middle, ball disrupted. Nanakoke under coverage. Couldn't handle it. DeSnew. Along with Jubenville, Mitch DeSnew. Now to Corbeil. Rock will slow it down. Odor opens. Rock looking up top. Dan Craig trying to stay in motion, shoots over the top. Stopped by Vince. They get it back. Well, pressured though. And Toronto will get to it. Craig swings over. Schreiber makes a nice move. Find the back setup. Oh, what a crease crash. And a pass in tight for Lintner. Couldn't bury.
I know Toronto only has 2 5-on-5 goals to speak for. They've done a better job spreading out the Bandits defense. You mentioned it, John. They're getting up floor more, which opens up more space to the middle. They got to keep chugging away.
Nanakoke weaving his way in, holds. He still might shoot. One hands it, and Rose will make the stop. Had that body language that he was going to try and pull something off. Boucher waiting in the corner, wanted that ball a bit quicker. Rock don't get it to him. And now Boucher up the floor. Chris Boucher with it back. 8 goals in the regular season against the Bandits. 1 here tonight in game 2. Schreiber shoots on the fly, and a piece of that with a left arm. I thought of Vince, but just 2 to shoot. So that one misses the target. Okay, here we go. Reset on the shot clock. Bushi. Now to Shriver. Bushi. Low bouncer. That one missed. Rocket back to it. Small trying to make the most of the 10 seconds available and denied right at the last second as Buffalo commits to getting in front of those Toronto shots.
11 block shots last game, John. Another impressive nugget. 35 shots off target. They forced Toronto into some bad shots.
Burn a save from Rose. Mazuka, look out! Leveled by Dane Smith, who throws the body on Phil Mazuka. Call him the Great Dane for nothing. He's laying out the physical play as well.
That's the Dane train.
Mark Matthews shut down in front. Bandits getting greasy to find a ball with help from Nick Weiss. Smith moves into the middle. Kluche robbed by Rose with a point-blank look. Dane Smith started the scoring. He finishes his checks too in Buffalo.
The calling card for the Buffalo Bandits is their high-octane offense, but what fuels that engine is the defense, and most notably, sacrificing the body with blocked shots. Nobody in the National Lacrosse League this year blocked more shots than the Buffalo Bandits, and they've stepped things up into the postseason, blocking 24 shots already. And John Tavares told us earlier this week and echoed the sentiments this morning, when the defense goes out and blocks those shots, when they get in lanes, it makes the little cuts to the middle of the floor that the offense has to do, or battling for a loose ball, seem like it's nothing because you see those grit grinders blocking shots all night long.
And the Bandits' room exclaiming to us how much it means to see that group stand in front of shots, including tonight again against Toronto. Shriver trying to change that storyline. Across to Matthews. Couple of chops there. This one on by Bushi off the pipe. Rose.
Tough to soak shots when you're picking corners like that. Unfortunately for Bushi, that one goes bar and out.
Matthews on the Lintner. Shriver. Watched by Wire. Shriver shoots and forces Vince into a good save down low. Vince will start it on to Weiss. Weiss biding time on the floor opposite the bench. Now Nanticoke. Nanticoke gets it back. Corbeil in check. Byrne nearly lost it, now does. Toronto right there, and a little chop on the ankle by Byrne underneath onto Snoo. And he'll just get up and try to suck it up, will Mitch to Snoo. Tyler Hendricks, Rock offense, shoots. Trying to sneak one past far side of Matt Vince, couldn't do it on that look. Dan Craig into the corner. Nice move, Shriver dumps it off. And Bushi Couldn't grab it. Schreiber shoots, backhand low just to get one on before the buzzer. Vince didn't budge.
Nice little C cut there by Schreiber and Bushi in the two-man game. Unfortunately, Bushi can't handle that one.
Bomberry, little twister far side. A little flare there from Bomberry and the Bandits.
Now, Bomberry's a big body. He's a defensive specialist, but he's got some great finish. We've seen him score some goals. Heck, we even saw him play a little offense last year when the Bandits were so banged up. They had no choice but to dress some defenders out the Odor.
Matthews some room all the way around. Denied by Vince with a shoulder stop. Picked up Paul Dawson. He's going to leg this out. Good hustle to get it into the offensive touch. Dane Smith going to work for Buffalo. Smith off a screen, so throws it cross floor, looking for Brandon Robinson. That didn't connect. Buffalo has to get off the floor quickly. Toronto trying to take advantage, and Challen Rogers with a stay-in-play scenario. Whitner patiently waiting. Schreiber. Now Hendricks makes a move to the inside, jams it, and scores! Welcome to the postseason, Tyler Hendricks, who gets his first NLL playoff goal.
6-1-3 lacrosse, stand up please. Tyler Hendricks puts his defender on skates. That's Dane Smith as well. As Hendricks takes this to the rack, and we're getting a challenge here, John. I think his foot goes down before that ball crosses.
It was close, no doubt.
Does it drag there? Yes, that looks like that one's going to be coming back. Yes, that is certainly one that Ryan Fowler is going to get a couple of extra looks at. But this is a great coach's challenge from Coach Tavares, and Hendricks might have to give that ball back, as this one might not stand.
Well, complete disregard for his own well-being as he just crashes the crease and puts his body on the line. But that is a big frame, as you alluded to, Pat, and it might have been too big to keep out of the crease when it matters most, but the call on the floor was a goal. And right there might be the look that tells you this one could come back.
John, regardless if this stands or not, which we think it's going to be coming back, that is why Hendricks was put in the lineup. Look at that big body of his. Look at that frame. He's able to beat his man underneath and has that great finish. That's something that they were kind of missing in game one from that left side. Don't get me wrong, Mark Matthews, dynamic playmaker. Corey Small, great shot from the outside. Dan Craig is an athletic dodger as well, but doesn't quite have the size that Hendricks does. It's a blend. That is why Jamie Dowick thought he was such a great prospect and took him in the draft 2 seasons ago.
Quite a story is Hendricks. He's so thrilled to see the Ottawa Lacrosse, the 613 Lax community grow. Black Bears come into the league next year, but he had to drag his own stuff to tennis courts to practice as a kid. He's hoping that journey pays off, but let's find out if he's got his first to the playoffs.
After review, the shooter touches down in the crease prior to the ball crossing the plate of the goal. Call in the field's over. No goal.
We'll have to wait a little bit longer, perhaps, as we go back to a tie game in Bandit Land. Toronto with much more life and aggression in their offensive performance tonight. Bandits trying to swing some momentum here. Byrne had that bobble out. Rogers up top on him. Byrne slices a shot towards the goal, missed. Nanticoke trying to save the over and back. Oh, he got close, but did come over to Snoo. Picks up in transition. Lintner missed that, but Schreiber's there for Toronto. Running all the way back in front of his own bench. Schreiber trying to shake Nick Weiss. Worked over to Mark Matthews. Matthews shoot, stop Vince, and we've got Lintner down without a bucket. Penalty coming up to Ian McKay in front as Lintner takes his time.
That's twice now Lintner headed to the bench without a helmet on. And he's going to go straight down the hall, John, and get some medical attention as Ian McKay, one of the top penalty killers, going to sit down. Let's let Ryan Fowler on the floor make the call.
Automatically under review.
And we're getting a major here, John, and with the new rules implemented this year in the National Lacrosse League, every single 5 is an automatic review. As we'll take a look here, and this is the first time I'm taking a look because it was behind the play. And you'll see Ian McKay. Take a look at your left of your screen. We'll get a better vantage point there. That gets him right in the chin. Ian McKay doesn't agree. And John, we did have 2 of those last game. As you'll see Ryan Fowler with a great look.
Bill Hostrauser was called on some chin music. McKay waiting his fate. And just as Buffalo thinks they might have grabbed some momentum with the Hendricks goal coming back, we'll find out if Toronto gets on an extended power play look.
Take a look at the left of your screen. Here comes the cross check. Take a look one more time as Ryan Fowler's out of the box. He's going to have the call down on the floor, John.
After review, the major penalty is upheld. Buffalo number 4, 5-minute major, legal cross check. 5-on-4.
And I know that might be a buzz on Twitter, but one thing with the majors that they are making consistent here is any sort of direct contact to the helmet, the cage, that's what they want to call. We've seen before where cross check comes, rides up the shoulder, hits the player in the chin. If it's a direct contact, they're calling that a major.
Toronto 1 for 3 on the power play in this game. Corey Small has that goal. On their 4th, Matthews. Boucher, quick stick, stop, rebound, not there. As Wires and Vince work together, oh, Toronto.
Those two, John, have been going back and forth all series long. The Bandit faithful here does not like this call, but they're taking both.
Boucher and Dawson, you're right.
And John, hey, no knock against Chris Boucher. He's been one of the top righties here, but you get Dan Dawson, one of the top penalty killers for the Buffalo Bandits. This could be a huge bounce as things are heating up down in Buffalo on TSN.
I don't know if the Bandits fans know what Boucher did last summer, but they know what he did last game. And that was get into the feathers of Paul Dawson. And those two exchange blows again, both to the box in Buffalo.
Nicely done there, partner. I did say that was a fine trade-off for Toronto, but let's not forget, Bushi already has a goal here. In the 2 regular season games, Bushi had 8 markers. So what I was trying to say here is Paul Dawson has completely changed the dynamic of this penalty kill. Since he's come here in Buffalo, not only has their record turnaround, but their penalty kill has become by far the best PK in the league. So if Toronto is able to get possession after this 4-on-3 attack by Buffalo, now you no longer have Dawson out there, and it's a real good opportunity to take advantage with him off the floor.
And lots of space on the floor, you're right, which could have called for an aggressive defender like Dawson to try and fill. And I think the clock needs a little fixing, so they will pause for a moment. Brock knew the adverse atmosphere that Bandit Land provides. They've been able to keep the crowd and the game at bay here in a 3-3 tie, and trying to set their sights on getting their second lead as well. Buffalo is always primed and ready. They were out early for a 5:30 game. Toronto trying to keep them quiet. Easier said than done.
Is it ever? This place is always rocking, and
tonight's attendance nearly equals that of the Tim McGraw concert in here last night. And they were out drawing, the Bandits were. Their NHL brothers in the Sabres late in the season. I mean, Bandit Land is for real, and the clock issues apparently are too. We don't mind extra time in Bandit Land, although it's got to be a little bit too long for the guys on the floor. Just want to kickstart this lacrosse game. What a different story it has been tonight. Wondered what way it would go after Dane Smith opened the scoring for Buffalo, but Toronto, an immediate response from Chris Bushi, then took a lead with Dan Craig, only to have that battled back from Buffalo, and here we are as well in a 3-3 tie. More along the lines of the semifinals meeting between these two playoffs ago, where each game was decided by just a goal. Bandits content to take some time off the clock. Dane Smith. And the shot clock expires. Corbeil trying to set it up on the Toronto power play. Lengthy one, 5-minute major. Handed out to Ian McKay. Matthews. Now Craig, back across Schreiber. Down low, Rogers. Matthews, shoots, scores! Mark Matthews, power play goal, and Toronto a 4-3 lead.
a little bit of delayed delivery for the mailman, but he gets his first goal of the NLL semifinals, and it's on the power play. And that is just a confident shooter. Look at all the black shirts all in front of him. He doesn't care. He sees a little bit of daylight, takes it. Matt Vince initially gets a piece of it, but not enough. As Mark Matthews, if his stick can start heating up, Toronto certainly will start feeling better about getting back into this series.
Already a multi-point, multi-assist game for Tom Schreiber. And Toronto will continue trying to build on that goal from Matthews, who has it back now to Small, trying down low, that shot blocked. Priolo stepped in front. Wires will pick up the pieces, and Buffalo soaks up another. 1 minute, an extra minute peeling off of the Buffalo penalty. So now 2 minutes gone in the Bandits' extended penalty kill. Rose a fine stop. Buffalo gets back to that ball. Byrne working out of the corner. Chase Fraser, heel delay. Byrne taking his time here. 5-on-4, Toronto. No, they'll get another look with 2.5 to go on the power play that started at 5. Oh, there might be some more as Cree goes down in a heap, holding the head, but no arm up. Brad Cree will head back to the Toronto bench. Rogers, Matthews, power play Toronto, Small, Schreiber, shoots, scores! Have a first half, Tom Schreiber. Power play goal sends Toronto up by 2.
Toronto fans fire it up, but might be cause for concern as Cree goes down in one end, but in the other, it's a perfectly executed power play. Little cross pick, frees up space for Schreiber, and for one of the first times in a very long time, we see the penalty kill of Buffalo out of sync, and Tom Schreiber takes advantage.
Well, Toronto Rock scored back-to-back power play goals off the 5-minute major to McKay. Matthews getting into the series. And Schreiber with now a 4-point night, and Brad Cree having some difficulty on the bench. You mentioned that will cause some concern.
I know Tom Schreiber wasn't the offensive output that he would probably like. He led the Rock in loose balls with 16 and had a cause turnover last game. He was one of the players where I think you could safely say he put everything on the line. Well, now he's putting the goal scoring together.
Running and cashing in is Corey Small's second of the game. And the Rock, they're on a run.
Lacrosse is a game of runs, and this is our first run we've seen in the ball game. Corey Small, normally known as a player that wants it in and out of his stick quick, but he puts Priolo in a little bit of a blender, goes one-on-one, beats his man underneath. A guy who used to play for this Bandits team, getting some boo birds, drowned down on him after that big goal.
5th of the playoffs, 2nd of the game. Corey Small and the Rock extend their lead 6-3. Wires in a battle right in front of that Bandit bench. 4 Rock, 3 Bandits. Who's got the ball? Toronto comes out with it. Challen Rogers, the captain, out the back door tonight, but has already been on the power play, stayed and played a little as well. So a little bit of everything. Schreiber carrying that hot stick. Let's see if he uncorks another. Schreiber working, spins. Can't get to the front. Bomberry there. Schreiber shoots low, missed. Saved by the Rock. Craig has to shoot. That one blocked by Priolo. Extra chop from Craig. Steve Priolo, one of 2 players in the regular season, 120 plus loose balls, 20 plus caused turnovers, 20 plus block shots. Just another stellar year from the veteran defensive player for the Bandits. Byrne, nice move, leaps off the pipe. Byrne, nearly a sublime move, pulled off. Dane Smith and the Bandits trying to get another goal on the board before the half. Smith shoots, stopped by Nick Rose. 30 seconds for Toronto to work with it. They'll try and orchestrate and now draw up a last shot play.
Nicely done by Nick Rose. Not only does he make that save, John, but it's in and out of his stick. Quick spoon action, up and out the floor. Desnu probably had the green light to take it in transition, but smart play, call the timeout, get your offense out there. We'll see if Nick Rose is going to sit here, and if they're going to go for a 6-on-5 opportunity. But what a punch-back effort in a heavyweight blow between these two top teams, these two rivals. Let's be honest, Toronto Rock, they got punched in the mouth in game one. They've come out here tonight with a game plan, a well-executed game plan on both sides of the ball. The offense started to come to life, but Toronto's defense holding Buffalo just to 18 shots on goal in that first half. We've talked about it a few times now. Nick Rose, I know he's had his struggles against this team before. He was fine last game, 8 goals against. I think you sign off that, no problem. The defense was stout as well. They just didn't get the run support. They're getting it here tonight, though.
And your point moves us perfectly into this possession. Now, all of a sudden, the offense have a couple of guys that have found the back of the net, and whether it's Boucher or Craig or Small with 2, Matthews and Schreiber all have factored in here. So you get to this set where they try to come down to the last shot. Toronto 4 goals in game 1. We've got 4 goals already in the second quarter to make it 6-3. Rock looking for one more before the half. Hendricks on the move. Keeps that at arm's reach against Priolo. Hendricks doubles back, plays it to Craig. Ball comes out. And the Rock, they wanted a little bit more, but they'll get possession back. 0.9. Quick shot, buzzer sounds, and Toronto have got some more playoff life injected in their veins after a 6-3 lead in the first half of game 2.
And it's a 4-goal run that has Buffalo with a 6-3 deficit. In Banditland, we're always talking about the offense of the Bandits going on the run, John. This time, it's Toronto giving Buffalo a taste of their own medicine in a much, much needed effort in that first half. That's something Matt Sawyer stressed, starting on time. Well, they got a good time to start, and they rolled it into a very strong second quarter.
Leading the way was Tom Schreiber with a goal and 3 assists. He's got a 4-point first half, and he's standing by with Brian Foley.
Tom, 5 points so far. What are you liking that you're seeing in this game?
We've had to have a game plan for them blocking all the shots. I mean, they've been successful again tonight, maybe not as much as the other night, so we've had to be a little more careful about our shot selection, and thankfully a couple of them trickled in. We got to keep it rolling.
Obviously no love lost between these two teams. How are you liking the aggression that Toronto's bringing tonight?
Yeah, we're not surprised. I think, coming off of a tough loss the other night, you have to respond. That's what mental toughness is all about, and that's what this team is about. So we're happy with our effort so far, and we got to keep it rolling.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Tom. Good luck.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Brienne and Mr. Schreiber. Banditland normally on their feet for the entirety, but the Toronto Rock have managed to quiet them down just a little bit. A 6-3 lead at the half. One of these two meeting the Albany Firewolves. We'll tell you how Albany punched their ticket to the final when we come back with our halftime report.
The Albany Firewolves' magical run continues. They defeat. He's won 3 games now in these playoffs, the first 3 of his career. Seals generated looks. They outshot. The Albany Firewolves' magical run continues. They defeat the San Diego Seals 13-10 in Game 2 of their semifinals series. They sweep the San Diego Seals. They are heading to the NLL Finals for the first time in their 3-year history in the national. They outshot Albany by 15.
'24 Men's World Hockey Championship is just days away. Tune in Friday to watch Canada on their quest for gold right here on TSN. It is the Toronto Rock that have the lead at the half against the Buffalo Bandits, trying to prolong their playoff lives, but already one team on to the finals. It is the Albany Firewolves making their first appearance there. For more on that series-clinching game, here's Brendan Glasheen and Dave Ball.
The Albany Firewolves' magical run continues. They defeat the San Diego Seals 13-10 in Game 2 of their semifinals series. They sweep the San Diego Seals. They are heading to the NLL Finals for the first time in their 3-year history in the National Lacrosse League. Brendan Glasheen and Dan Ball, we had the call of this game today. The Firewolves won just 3 games last year. They flipped their entire right side of their offense. They had the same goalie, same coaching staff, but they make their way to an 11-win season, a new franchise record. They beat the Halifax Thunderbirds in the quarterfinals, and they sweep the Seals. How'd they do it?
Well, Brendan, I'm not an investment banker, but what Glenn Clark told us at the beginning of the weekend, they invested in every play. What they did in quarter number 1 of Game 1 paid off in quarter 4 of Game 1, and what happened in Game 1 mattered in Game 2. So it was just a game of attrition, as we talk about all the time here, and Albany was able to win the track meet and come out on top.
Let's look at some of the highlights from this game tonight at the MVP Arena. First ever trip to the finals coming up, and San Diego had never been there either. They got this game started off on the right track. They scored the first 2 thanks to Trey LeClaire and Austin Stotts, who finished with 4.
Yeah, second game in this series where San Diego was able to score first. It looked like Albany had even the game at 1, but a really well-placed challenge from Pat Merrill allowed San Diego to instead take a 2-0 lead, but Albany came roaring back with the final 3 goals of the first quarter, including 1 from Ethan Walker. That was later in the second, a power play goal. Albany's power play was on fire, no pun intended, in the first half of play. Brendan, 2 goals for San Diego, however, at the end of the first half. So they scored the first 2 and the last 2 of the first half. That one from Dane Doby, even the game at 6 apiece. That was in the third quarter. Ty Kurtz shorthanded. What a play by Nick Jakowski to jar this ball free, allowing Kurtz to get free and score past Chris Origlieri. San Diego was not going quietly. Curtis Dixon, who decided to have a record-setting weekend, moving up the ranks in terms of playoff scoring in the NLL. He scored there. Transition play, which was important in San Diego's comeback attempt, leads to another chance and a goal there. It was right down to the wire. A 2-goal game in the fourth quarter, but Albany forces the turnover, and Colton Watkinson, 3 playoff games for him this season, 3 empty net goals for the Albany Firewolves captain, and you can hear the crowd at MVP Arena. They knew what was happening at that point in the game.
They had their struggles all year on the power play. Basement of the league in power play percentage. They go 5 for 10 in a closeout game. Doug Jamieson with now 2 50-save games in 3 postseason games this year. Remarkable. He's won 3 games now in these playoffs, the first 3 of his career. Seals generated looks. They outshot Albany by 15.
Tough pill to swallow for the San Diego Seals, who felt they were so close, but Doug Jamieson getting it done with the Albany Firewolves, who are on to the NLL final. One of these teams will join them. Buffalo, if they win, will move right on. Toronto trying to force a winner-take-all Game 3 in the NLL semifinals. We'll recap the first half when we come back to Buffalo. Buffalo Bandits on the cusp of going to the NLL final, but we'll find out if the Toronto Rock can prolong this series and force a winner-take-all Game number 3. That would be dramatic. John Abbott, Pat Gregoire with you back in Bandit land at the half, and one thing we do know is Toronto came fully invested into Game number 2 after a disappointing effort in Game number 1, and they put together a run of offense, Pat.
It was back and forth to start things off in the first quarter, but a 4-goal run has the Toronto Rock in the driver's seat. We've seen them score on the power play twice. Matthews there, Schreiber there, but the guy who started the party, Small, gets a huge goal, beats his man underneath Corey Small with 2, but how about the play of Nick Rose? Steady. Outside shots, the defense allowing him to see everything he wants to see. It's been a really, really strong team effort from Toronto.
Yeah, it's not just how they put it in, it's how they kept it out as well. And Rose with the Rock D and their offense continuing to put together a package deal. Here's what we're talking about, Pat.
Yeah, both defenses actually have been very strong. Of all the goals we've seen so far, just 5 settled 5-on-5 goals. You can see right here, these two teams do not like each other.
That's what we love about it. It is the Toronto Rock that have finally found a power play touch as well, not to be overlooked. It was sputtering going into this game out of the last 2 in the playoffs, but they're 3 for 5 tonight. And the Buffalo Bandits on the wrong side of the score. Those fans hoping that changes. Second half next on TSN. So much hangs on the next two quarters of lacrosse in Buffalo. Toronto enters the second half with a 6-3 lead. The Bandits trying to play comeback and start a party ahead of the second half beginning. Let's join Brianne Foley.
Yes, John Tavares said that they need to get more shots on net and make those go. On the other side, Matt Sawyer said the guys are performing, but they need to do that for another 30 minutes.
Thank you, Brianne. It is the Bandits that are hoping to make their third straight trip to the NLL Finals, so they are battle-tested. The Rock, that's all they've been thinking about since winning it all in 2011. They're hoping to get this to a game 3.
Last game, 10 of the 12 goals, we talked about the depth, came from guys not named Josh Byrne and Dane Smith. If Buffalo wants to close the gap here, get back into things here, it's the depth scoring that needs to step up.
Rogers, what a fake, but still covered by Dawson. Ends up in the corner. That shot handled. Toronto hoping to get back to the ball. Rock aggressive here, able to get another look to start the third quarter. Lintner. Rock moving from the far side. Bushi swings towards a goal that missed. Hendricks, can he save it? No. Weiss is there. Hendricks battling. And the shot clock will run out on Toronto anyhow, so they hustle off to the bench. Bandits trying to start their comeback right now. Josh Byrne moved it over. Dane Smith shoots, stopped by Rose. Bandits get back to that ball. Fraser out of the corner. One hops it over to Dane Smith. Watched by DeSnew. Fraser out of Kluche. On to Josh Byrne. Not getting the room he did in game 1. He'll shoot, stopped by Rose. He turned the corner so often in that game in Hamilton, and the Rock shutting down those looks tonight.
That's the mental pretzel that Byrne puts you in. He can beat you over the top. He can beat you underneath. Defense has really struggled choosing how much you can give to him.
Schreiber, boy, had an open look, but decides hesitate. Now he drives. Schreiber! What a stop by Vince with the right arm.
My, oh my. 25 saves. Now for Matt Vince, that might be the best one we've seen so far.
Byrne. Little shake and bake. Byrne dishing off the tip of the stick, though, of Fraser. That will give Toronto a look up the floor. The Rock's Justin Martin. On to Tom Schreiber. Into the hands of Matthews. Mark Matthews up tight, had some room. Bullies his way to the top of the crease. Keeps that ball away. Floats one over to Tom Schreiber. Schreiber moves, switches, shoots! Oh, he didn't pull it off for a second straight game, but that would have been something.
That is the field lacrosse influence from Tom Schreiber. Switching hands, we saw him score against Rochester. We didn't see him score last game, John, but he had a great chance. Goes off Matt Vince. They got a repossession off of that.
Uche down low, Nanacoke chased up by Corbeil. Nanacoke watched, Rogers steps up, got a stick on it, and Dane Smith overpowers the Toronto D.
The Dane train is rolling as we see one chance in one end off the glove. Matt Vince says, not today. And it's a two-man game. Smith with the fake pick. Challen Rogers just a bit too slow to slide out to Smith. You gotta close the gap on Smith. I know he's one of the greatest playmakers the game has ever seen. The only player to record over 100 assists in a single season. But Toronto can't forget he can grip it and rip it.
Second of the game for Smith. Third of the playoffs. And just as he started quarter one, he opens quarter three for the Bandits. And they're within two. Bandit land back to life. Bushi trying to settle him down again. Vince the save, smothering that. Ian McKay. Josh Byrne. Chris Weir on him initially. Byrne fakes a shot, quick stick, over Rose, stopped it. Dane Smith was hoping for the hat trick.
Gorgeous setup, but an even better save from Nick Rose. Those people who say Nick Rose can't make the athletic saves, think again. He can go east to west, pipe to pipe with the best of them.
Hendricks up top, small. Quick movement here from Toronto. Bushi wants to pull the trigger, but instead goes inside, and Nick Weiss taking care of business. Against Bill Hostrauser was staying and playing.
Well, those two had a date on Friday night.
Yep, they went blow for blow. Two tough customers.
It was not a pillow fight, I'll say that much.
Nanacoke against the grain, nearly picked the corner. Rose complaining. Nanacoke wants it off of Toronto. Rock and repossession. We'll find out who wins the argument. Nick Rose, after seeing Dane Smith come right at him, makes that great stop this time. It seems like Nick Rose has been doing it forever for Toronto. Going a ways back to his first playoff start. It turns out to be his first playoff win. And that was the last time the Rock beat the Bandits in the postseason. Rose hoping it changes tonight.
Nick Rose, look at the gear, the setup wearing the field lacrosse helmet, John. But since then, it has been a struggle, to say the least, for the Toronto Rock and Nick Rose. Look at his record against Buffalo in the postseason. He's struggled to get over the hump, but these last two games, the Toronto Rock cannot hang that loss on Nick Rose, and certainly here tonight, he has been very strong.
Rock gave up 12 in the loss to the Bandits in game one. Rose 8 of those, and you're right, not on him. Trying to secure a lead right now. Bandits pressing. Rose stops that against Byrne. Bandits get back to the ball, fresh 30. Nanacoke gets it back, sent across. Byrne taking a look, some traffic out there, little hold from Rogers. Byrne breaks free from that, feeds the middle for Buchanan, miss. Dane Smith corrals it. 12 to shoot for Buffalo. Dane Smith sitting on 2 goals, shoots that one wide to the right of Rose, and the rock pulled off a determined bunch of Bandits.
Toronto had to know there was going to be a pushback from Buffalo. You know they're going to go on the run. It's just for Toronto, they have to limit that run, not allow them to take over the game, get back, and gain the lead.
Matthew Shriver now across, looking for Corey Small. Priolo draped over him. Hendricks battling with Weiss, but Priolo and the Bandits get back to it. Cam Wires waiting for the Bandits to get on the floor. Long change for them offensively this quarter. Josh Byrne trying to find a seam. Kicks over to Dane Smith. Swings to Brandon Robinson. Low shot blocked. Bandits back to it. Fraser shoots. He's got a heck of a shot. That one missing the target. Rock up the floor. We're in the hands of Matthews. Lintner setting it up. Little give and take with Boucher. Lintner back around, some room. Shoots point blank. Stopped by Vince, who was reading that into position early. That goal by Dane Smith has reinvigorated the crowd in Buffalo. Nanacoke chokes up on the stick, swings over Dane Smith. Trying to break free of Corbeil. Smith, cross floor. Brandon Robinson didn't get there initially, does salvage it. Kluche, long ranger. Rose stopping that one.
That's a strong defensive stand after a little bit of a push from this Buffalo offense. Allow those shots from the outside. Let Nick Rose see it. That's a little more of the defense we saw in the first half, John.
And Toronto will take that. Now they'll try to do something at the other end. Small into Hendricks. And Melter's got it for the Bandits.
And the defense has been dialed here in the third quarter. According to Ty Merrow, lax. Buffalo Bandits defense, when settled this playoffs, 25% of those stands end up in not a shot or a caused turnover. Unbelievable.
Nice effort by Byrne, equaled by the Toronto defense in front, and Rose ends up with it. Yeah, that's remarkable percentage heading into this game, Pat.
Just not even a shot on goal.
Just a glimpse of how frustrating it can be to go against the Buffalo defense. Boucher. Small, or the far side, Matthews. Shriver. Long range, not what they drew up. Tried to throw something on anyway. And it'll be the Bandits that force the shot clock on Toronto. Buchanan, the veteran, raising his playoff level. Byrne. Back across, Smith on the move, had some room, twist, shoots, shoulders, stopped by Rose. Those two in a great mini battle. Rose as if to say, you're not getting 3 tonight. Challen Rogers into his familiar form up front, staying and playing. A little move there by Matthews, trying to find Lintner. Craig was in position to help. Rock get that ball, bouncing on Lintner, takes a couple of cross checks from Weiss, and the Bandits do it again.
I don't know how many possessions in a row, John, at least 3 or 4, where Toronto hasn't been able to come up with anything.
Byrne. Kluche. 'Kluche. 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 ' Nanticoke drives off the pipe. Rose in a heap. Nanticoke came close. Rose still down. Odd man break for Toronto though, and Vince at the other end. Denying the Rock as they see their goaltender and regular season MVP not yet on his feet. Rock fans holding their breath. Find out if Rose is able to keep playing when we come back. Every player toughens up at playoff time, including the goaltenders. Look at the contact here, Pat.
Watch that knee. Ooh, it bends in a way that I don't believe knees should probably bend. I know goaltender interference is a focus call. I don't think anything malicious was there in order to deem a goaltender interference call.
Keep an eye on that left leg / left knee of Nick Rose as he continues to shake it out. Bandits with the ball. They try to wear Rose down a little bit here with 4.5 to go in the third. Byrne. Rose moving, Byrne shoots. Rose there. Had to go left to right. Rock come up with a big ball out of the corner. Up the floor quickly. Weir joined by Rogers, left it for him. Jubenville cleans up the mess. Back to Weir. Shoots, scores! Chris Weir. Big playoff goal. And Toronto now has 7.
The story in game 1 was depth scoring for the Buffalo Bandits, while Toronto getting some depth scoring of their own. The grit grinder, hard-working, hard-nosed Chris Weir. That guy might be a defender, but that's a forward finish, little twister, puts that down low, slams it with authority, and Toronto now holds a 7-4 lead.
The Rock eventually answered Dane Smith's goal this quarter, and they know what the Bandits are capable of. They're trying to stay far enough ahead. Back up by 3. Rogers, nice spin move. No a la Dan Dawson this time. Rogers back to the top of the crease, paying for it, shoots, nearly pulled Vince off the far side, rebound, that didn't land for the Rock. One more, Rogers, that missed in desperation before the shot clock buzzer.
It's not often you have the energy ripped out of this building, but right now it is eerily quiet. Mind you, one quick goal here for the orange, black, and white, and the roof will pop off once again. But if you're Buffalo, you're going to want to strike quickly here.
Byrne in, shoots, stopped by Rose, who held his ground. Byrne came together with the Rock's Justin Martin at the end of that possession. And for the Bandits, they just need goals, so they're focused obviously on the offense, but I do wonder if they're going to try and get Nick Rose moving, test out that left knee. Matthews right to the top, into the slot, and that one goes wide past Vince.
That didn't miss by much, John.
Schreiber dunk! Oh, that looked labeled for the far side, and Schreiber in a heap under 3 Bandits, lost his helmet. Lintner, crease crash, and he's done that before, but comes up empty-handed. Toronto paying the price to try and increase their lead. Schreiber off with no helmet, Lintner up slowly, Rock still with the ball. Bushi. Bushi some room, shoots, couldn't pick his corner. Rock get back to it, help from Matthews, into the stick of Craig.
That's 2 repossessions off this possession. This Buffalo defense is tired.
Matthews trying to wear them down, find that shot. Lintner from the outside, tests Vince, and it finishes a bit quietly for Toronto. Bandits get that fatigued D off the floor. Byrne, way low, into the corner. Dane Smith up top, back to Byrne. Byrne connecting with Smith, quick stick, and Rose didn't have to make a save. That came close. Byrne won't beat the shot clock, and Jubenville's got it.
Buffalo not able to get a shot off there, but look at this forecheck from Byrne.
We've seen that play to Dane Smith in the corner. Once Rose just shuffled over. That time it was Dane Smith's miss.
We're seeing Buffalo attack from the corners down low. They must be seeing something they want to try to attack on this Toronto defense. Attacking from up top hasn't worked.
And a wasted possession there from Toronto, who give it right back. Final minute of the third. Game 2, NLL semifinals. Toronto needs to win to keep their playoffs going and are up 7-4. Dane Smith takes a look. Byrne shoots, missed on the short side of Rose. It's on the back of the netting. Mazuka springs Weir. Weir who has a goal. Shoots, and that nearly snuck through. It did come out. It went into Vince and out of Vince, and somehow not the back of the net.
That is what you call a hometown bounce, John. I thought that one was going to sneak in. Oh, here comes Matt Vince, extra attacker coming on the floor.
Vince waiting by the bench. No, it was a decoy. Here comes Smith. His shot stopped by Rose. Rock legged that out. Cree. Nice pass. Oh, trying to finish that off. Unable to that time. And Alon Ranger will finish the third quarter.
My goodness, we were almost close, and it was actually Vince. Look at that. John, ball goes behind him. He bats it out of the way. There's veteran moves, and there's what Matt Vince just did there. Oh my goodness.
Vince keeping that one out, although Chris Weir did beat him to soft goals in the third. It is Toronto and Buffalo coming right down to the wire. Rock up by 3 as we head to the fourth. This is coverage of the NLL semifinals, Game 2 on TSN. marvel at the pairing of Byrne and Smith. Time after time, this league has seen dynamic duos before, perhaps none like the top of this list of Byrne and Smith to finish first and second in NLL scoring. Mark Matthews, familiar name with Robert Church, and then there's the entire Gate family. For more on the pairing, here is Brianne Foley.
Yes, Josh Byrne and Dane Smith are first and second this year in leading the league in points. Just the sixth dynamic duo to do that on the same team since 1991. Of course, when asked about what makes their camaraderie work so well, head coach John Tavares says they don't compete against each other for stats and goals. They feed off each other and love it when the other guys step up. For Smith, it runs even deeper because they will be the first to critique each other, but also lift each other up. John?
Thanks very much, Brianne. Yep, best buddies off the floor. Bromance of sorts. Even their fiancés admit that. Roommates on the road. Podcast together.
Yeah, the Josh and Dane show is not just the electricity they put on the floor, also a pretty good podcast as well.
They might need that duo in the fourth quarter. Toronto with a 3-goal lead, trying to increase on that. Low shot whizzes past Vince wide, and the Bandits pick it up. Here comes Ian McKay, lone wolf. Now to Byrne, off the bench, shoots, off the pipe. Not close to Byrne, leaving his mark to Snoo the other way. Bushi, low shot, falling backwards is Vince to keep it out.
I know that shot goes to Josh Byrne, but did you see that hustle from Tom Schreiber to get back to eliminate that scoring transition from the stick of Ian McKay?
Dane Smith stutters, shoots, blocked, rocked with the ball. And Mazuka in the fray comes out with it. Rogers quickly ahead.
Last quarter, both teams came away with 3 offensive repossessions. In this fourth quarter, that second possession, third possession is going to mean so much.
Matthews sneaks it through! Mark Matthews coming up big in the fourth for Toronto, who lead by 4.
Coming off the worst statistical game of his NLL playoff career, Matthews has stepped up. His coach said our big players need to play big in the big moments, and the big number 42 looks unassuming on that dodge, but he's so deceptive on the run, fools Matt Vince, and doubles up their lead.
Matthews so good at picking his spot. When you see Vince set up like that, looks like no room, and yet Matthews finds some. 8-4 Toronto. And it's part of what the Rock are doing, part of what the Bandits are not doing, but that transition we saw in game 1 working well for Buffalo hasn't kicked into gear yet, Pat.
Not a single transition goal. You're right, John. A little bit of what the Bandits are doing, but this is also the hard work and the smart play of Toronto, getting back and eliminating those transition opportunities.
Rogers making Byrne push back, but they find a taker. Chase Fraser scores for Buffalo, who answer back.
Chase Fraser has the flair for the dramatic. This one here might not end up on a highlight reel, John, but this is a massive goal to get this offense going again. Fraser just takes his man deep. For some reason, Mitch DeSnoo does not close that gap. Chase Fraser said, "What's up, brother? I'll take this shot and take it to the net."
Goals to start the fourth, 32 seconds apart. And Buffalo's got it back to 3 as we go back and forth in game 2.
What a play from Zach Belter. This kid has been so good for the Bandits down the stretch. So many different hustle plays, John.
Robinson, a little twist move. Won't get Cree to bite. Love to expand on that in a moment. Rose is stopped. Doesn't know where that ball is. Trapped it in time against Buchanan. And quickly as Ron Belter, Bandits give him credit for that goal in game one when Toronto thought they'd scored. And Buffalo turned it around the other way to Barrie. Thanks to the hustle from Belter making the change to get Byrne on the floor.
It was the hustle, but it was also the IQ of the Buffalo, New York native Belter to recognize that it was turned off. He put the Jets on.
Anaco, swing, shoots, scores! Not one, not two, but three moves from Anaco, who brings the Bandits back to life.
Back-to-back goals for the Bandits, and Byrne's gonna pick up another assist. Finds a streaking Nanakoke as he puts Hendricks in the spin cycle. Throws not a changeup, not a curveball, just gas down low on Nick Rose. And the Bandits cut the lead to just 2.
The Bandits have scored twice in 53 seconds to get it to 8-6. Buffalo has not experienced a run. Toronto put together a 4-goal swing. We'll try to find the back of the net to stop the Bandits here. Boucher. Small doesn't like it. Boucher does. That shot blocked by McKay, who violently threw himself. Boucher off the board. Shot stopped. Home at Vince. Guardian of the Galaxy. That was out of this world. Looked like Toronto was going to find another separator. Dean Smith. Buchanan. Byrne. Momentum mounting, and Byrne brings them to their feet again.
Bandit land is buzzing, and it's all because of this man right here. Shuts the door in one end, down the other, as Josh Byrne, silky mitts, quick feet, and a nasty finish. As the Bandits go on one of their patented runs.
Three goals in 149. We got an injured Rock on the floor, and it's one of the toughest. Bill Hostrauser. Byrne and the Bandits to within 1.
Might be a cramp or something, John. He walked up to the restraining line to get ready for that face-off, and he's getting attention. We'll probably head down that hall.
Listen to the crowd in Buffalo. Rock able to quiet them for a moment. Win the possession off the TD Erlin face-off win. Toronto with a 1-goal lead all of a sudden. Matthews shoots. That was a missile, and it stays out. Toronto trying to dig deep here. Small spins, throws it towards the goal, missed. Picked up Buffalo, Weiss corrals it.
John, let's not forget the Toronto Rock in the regular season in this building had a fourth quarter lead, and Buffalo scored 4 straight goals to win that game.
Nanticoke again, and Rose, a terrific stop to ensure he didn't get another. Corbeil. On to the Snoo. Schreiber spins. Coverage is caught up to Toronto. They'll exchange some defensive players. Just 13 to shoot for the Rock and Dan Craig. Uchi on to Craig. Corner for Matthews. What are they drawing up here? Matthews shoots, stopped by Vince. Dawson gets it across. Dane Smith. Thought they had it there, but we called back. Toronto will get the ball. Nick Rose, he's grinding this one out and comes up with a big stop on Nanticoke. This rivalry might continue as the Toronto Rock hope they face the defending champs Buffalo Bandits in Game 3, the semis, Saturday, 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific, only on TSN. Trying to get this one across the line, knew what they were up against before the series started. Pat saying they need to win one in Buffalo. Either way, turns out they need to win tonight to keep their playoffs going. Toronto up by 1. 9 minutes remaining. Fourth quarter. Small. Schreiber. Nice pick there, Schreiber. Couldn't unlock it though. Swings across, small shot, squeeze, right arm to chest by Vince.
Oh, and that is going to be a costly penalty from Small. He checks the ball in Paul Dawson's stick inside the crease.
And Paul Dawson letting Small know it as Small temporarily sits on the Rock bench. Vince out, extra attacker on, delayed call, Buffalo trying to tie it. Inside, look, they go! Fraser and the Bandits come all the way back.
When you make mistakes against good teams, they will make you pay, and that's exactly what happens here. 6-on-5 offense. Josh Byrne, another apple. This time he finds Fraser all alone in the stack, in the middle, and just like that, John, we got a tie ball game.
Buffalo's put together 4 goals in under 5 minutes. And the Bandits, you mentioned, have saved some of their best lacrosse against Toronto for the closing quarter. They have 13 fourth quarter goals in the regular season against Toronto, and they've come up big again tonight. 8-8 with 8 minutes left. Matthews would have loved for that to drop.
Great chance by Matthews, but once again, big block by Buffalo.
Priolo was there. Rogers running out of time. 5 to shoot. Craig might have to step on the gas. Matthews does. Stopped by Vince. Loose ball. Bandits get to it. Byrne fakes, spins, shoots, stop, rolls, rebound! And I think the Rock with a block from Ostrauser, who came back, showing he is toughing it out.
8-second violation. Bradbury not able to get that over the timeline quick enough. Another costly error for Toronto.
Robinson down low, Rose protects the house. Dane Smith after that ball. Jarred it free to where Buchanan was, and he'll pick it up.
Talked about those repossessions, how important they'll be in the fourth. Just the first one for the Bandits.
Bandits feeding off their crowd have come all the way back to tie. Robinson disrupted by Desnou's stick. Good non-called errors. Smith engaged with Desnou. Rock have it. Desnou shoots. Stopped by Vince down low. Ball out. Bandits get back to it. They want to move quickly, but this will be Toronto possession as Desnou went down.
A little too much on the back of Desnou. Banditland doesn't like it, but I think that's the right call there. Toronto going to stay with possession here.
Bushi, Hendricks. Schreiber working, quick stick play there from Small, missed the target. Toronto just settling to get off the floor, trying to slow down what Buffalo is bringing. Rock wanted to find a big win in Banditland. This is about as much as they can handle. Fraser scores again! Buffalo takes the lead.
This place is on their feet. How about this individual effort from Fraser? Breaks down his man Mizuka. Blast that one by Nick Rose. The Cardiac Bandits in the fourth quarter once again take a stranglehold on this game and take a one-goal lead with just over 5 minutes to go.
5 goals for the Bandits on their run in 7 minutes, 16 seconds. And we might lose the roof. Rock desperately want to stop and want a tying goal. Matthews can't unlock it. Lintner saves, 5 to shoot, good look! That one, I believe, off Priolo again. And Buffalo paying the price. Byrne scores! He couldn't be stopped.
Like a shark in water smelling blood, Josh Byrne, attack, attack, attack. As he beats every single white shirt on the floor, including Nick Rose. Airburn takes flight and touches down in Buffalo. The Bandits are rolling.
The Rock want to stop it, but how do you do it? 10-8, the comeback trail blazing. Bushi in the crease. Momentum, it is a thing. Fraser and Smith and Byrne capturing that. The NLL on TSN Game of the Week is brought to you by NLLstore.ca, a Fanatics experience, officially licensed everything. Six-goal run from Buffalo when they need it the most. Backs up against the wall for the Toronto Rock, who are staring at 4:20 left, down by 2.
And on that 6-goal run, John, Josh Byrne with 5 of those points. Unbelievable.
Buchanan in the Bandits. Trying to add another. Byrne. Crowd will tell you how many. Buchanan stripped in front. Big stop from Toronto. It's what they do about it at this end of the floor. Craig with Rose at the top of the crease. On to Schreiber. Spins, Rose. He's got a hustle. Shot on, Vince the save. Rose will have to go back. So a little indecision there as to when Rose would come out. But we know they'll try it again and Rose will go.
And once again, it's going to be one of Buffalo's top penalty killers, Cam
Buffalo
Myers.
5, 2 minutes holding the stick.
There's the holding the stick call from Wires doesn't like it. Coach JT doesn't like it. But Toronto loves it as they'll have an opportunity to try to cut in this lead. Stop the bleeding.
3 power play goals for the Rock. Matthews wants one here. That shot blocked. They just keep doing it. Justin Martin of the Bandits this time. Bandits able to take time off the clock, so that is another enemy for the Toronto Rock. Down by 2. on the power play, but the kill. Out for the Bandits. Fraser's going to take it. Stopped by Rose. Nanico getting back to it. Not what Toronto could afford at this stage of the game.
That's Buffalo's 5th.
Nanico switches. Shot. Stopped. Cree and Nanico come together. Rock trying to get the group to focus. And Sawyer trying to get the Rock to hurry up. On the power play, they need 2. Matthews. Bushi, Craig inside! Remarkable stop by Vince. Toronto would love to get a goal, make it more appetizing to send Rose to the bench, but Buffalo not giving them that opportunity thus far. Dane Smith, ball out, Rose swats it away. Smith hauled down, they'll break him up. 1:40 to go in the 4th. 8 seconds on the Toronto power play. They'll hold this offensive set. Out of the box, Wires. 2 shots from the Rock. Come up empty-handed on a late power play. And we close into the final minute of the 4th. Dawson. Bucci. Byrne. Final minute in the 4th. Dane Smith to ice it. Rose, a desperation save. Rock will have to go all in, and they'll talk about it at the Toronto bench.
44.8 seconds on the clock. We'll have to see if the officials add anything else. As Coach Tavares all sorts of heated about something, but man, oh man. 6-goal run in this 4th quarter. And Josh Byrne a factor in all 6 of those goals. Down the stretch, this Bandits team just willed their way. And like an anaconda, just choked out their prey. Unbelievable what we're seeing here in this 4th quarter from this battle-tested Bandits club. Toronto's going to have to act quickly here, John. They need 2 goals. As Tom Schreiber's going to start with the ball in his own end.
Tension for Toronto. Matthews, Schreiber, Small, shoots, blocked. The Rock, regular season, #1 seed, quickly seeing that not pay off. Net empty, Bandits have that shot blocked. Loose ball, Toronto's got it. Quick stick, Bushi denied by Vince. For a third straight year, the Bandits sweep the Rock. And we'll wait a little longer to celebrate on the floor.
Not so fast, John. Let's send it to Ryan Fowler, the crew chief. when it rains, it pours. You get a too many men call on Toronto. So it's going to be a penalty shot, though. Gananako's going to take it.
Well, this would really ice things for the Bandits. Nanako, penalty shot, in on Rose. Stopped by the Toronto netminder. They push pause, but now they can start to celebrate. One more face-off. Bandit land is up. Possession Buffalo. And for our third straight playoffs, the Bandits sweep the Rock. And Buffalo heads back to the finals to defend their title. What a comeback.
What was a dream regular season for the Toronto Rock has ended in a complete nightmare. 8 straight postseason losses to their QEW foe, the Buffalo Bandits. But the defending champs asserted dominance in the fourth quarter when the lights were brightest, John. The big players came up in the clutch. Matt Vince shut the door. The defense blocked shots. Josh Byrne put his team on his back. Chase Fraser with a hat trick. This is a battle-tested Bandits team. And once again, the Toronto Rock unable to slay the dragon, the boogeyman in their closet, as they'll head to the off-season wondering how do they get past this team.
This is how the Bandits did it with the Turning Point presented by NLLstore.ca. Fanatics experience Pat a 6-goal run.
A 6-goal run, a patented run that we see so often inside this building from this electrifying offense. It was Fraser with a hat trick. It was 6 points from Byrne that just left this Toronto Rock team completely shell-shocked as the Buffalo Bandits punch their ticket to the NLL Finals once again.
Through the celebration, Brehan Foley with Josh Byrne.
Josh, you were involved in all 6 of those goals. What did you see coming out of this half?
Listen, I think we struggled in the third there, and it was just getting back to basics, swinging the ball, trusting each other, celebrating each other, and pretty crazy forward.
What was said in that locker room? I know you and Dane like to pump each other up. How did you do that here tonight?
Hey, we got a thing that we always say, can't get any worse after a half like that, so I'm proud of our group for stepping up.
And then finally, how does it feel to be going back to your 3rd straight finals?
I don't know, we'll figure that out in a week.
Awesome, thanks so much, Josh.
Josh Byrne and the Bandits celebrating. They left this floor last postseason with the NLL Cup. They want another crack at it, and they put together a ridiculous comeback over what was the regular season's top team, not only to win this game, but to sweep them out of the playoffs. The Bandits, the defending champs, will have a chance to repeat.
They all have a great chance against a really young, hungry, athletic group in Albany, and another Albany group that has given this Bandits team a ton of fits. But with this new group, since grabbing Paul Dawson at the deadline, with adding Connor Farrell at the stripe, adding that swagger, getting back, having that chemistry, this is a different beast. This is a Bandits team that just a few years ago, John, people used to call them the perennial chokers. In the biggest moment of the season, in the fourth quarter, down, certainly not out, a 6-goal run propels them to another NLL final. But Josh Byrne said it best, their job is not done.
Toronto, a great regular season. They still cannot get over the Buffalo hump, as it turns out. As for the Bandits, they've claimed that they have been the underdogs. Well, they won't be, as they punch their ticket once again to the NLL final. They'll enter as defending champs. A 6-goal swing in the fourth lets Buffalo prevail. 10-8 the final. Thanks for watching the completion of the semifinals. We're on the finals next. Thanks for being with us from Bandit Land.